Hello, welcome back to Bebop Review. My name's Andy Shaw. This is a new course called Jazz Harmony, and we're actually going to go through Jazz Harmony right from the beginning, right up to, well, basically we're going to go up to level 4 Berkeley, because I've done Berkeley Harmony, so I'll just teach you what I know about harmony. But I'm also going to bring in other types of harmony as well, because if I actually give you the course, kind of like a whole course, then you're going to be missing, I know you're going to be missing things because I've actually learned other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and bring in other things in. But basically this is Berkeley Harmony right from level 1 to level 4. And we're going to start off at level 1. But like I said, there'll be actually more information than you do get when you do an online course at Berkeley. I'm going to be bringing in other bits what I've done because I've actually done other courses as well. So I'm going to try and make it into one big course. So there's quite a lot of information to come here. What I want to say at the beginning of this introduction is a thing about Jazz Harmony. Lots of people on YouTube have actually been teaching you part of Jazz Harmony, but nobody's actually done it in a big long course. There's some people I know have put like a course in music, but to me it's been really basic. And some people have put lessons on harmony, but then at the end of the lesson they say, oh, if you go to my website and pay me some money, I'll give you even more information. So this is not about this is all free information from me. So I don't want any insults when I'm doing all this work for you. So general rules apply in this course, right? No insults. If you've got any questions, write it down neatly and all that kind of stuff, right? Another thing about this on Jazz Harmony is it might go against something that you've actually read or been taught by somebody else. Now, I'm not saying that they're wrong and I'm right. What I'm saying is that I'm going to show you one way of doing it because, like, one of the things I've noticed that people teach you on YouTube, other people, is about diminished chords and diminished chords, passing diminished chords and things like that. And they give you, they like tell you about diminished chords without any rules. There's rules to using diminished chords. Now you can break them rules if you want, it's up to you. But I'm going to tell you the right way to do things, and then you can say, well, I'm going to break that rule, I'm going to break that rule. Because rules in jazz are meant to be broken, really. But you've really got to learn the rules and then know what you're doing when you break those rules, you know what I mean? Like Charlie Parker, right, kind of said, learn everything you can about jazz and music or whatever, and then forget about it and do it your own way. But you've got to learn the right way first before you can do it the wrong way, so you know what you're doing when you're actually breaking the rules. So I just want to lay that down, because you'll get information off me and you'll say, well, somebody else is saying something different. And it's not that they're saying it wrong, it's just that they're doing it a different way. I'm going to show you one way of doing it, and then it's up to you to choose which way you want to do. I'll actually tell you, actually. But I will go into this more thoroughly than anybody else on YouTube and tell you the theory behind everything, because the theory is really important. If you got it in your head, things just seem so much easier, I'm telling you. I had one guy, he left a comment on how to play that review I did on how to play bebop, David Baker, and he says that because I actually started criticising Dave Baker and started using theory, you know, I'm confusing him more. Well, all I can say to people like him, this guitarist guy, is that if he's getting confused by me, he shouldn't be looking at bebop at all, because what I put across is incredibly simple. When you look at, you know, what jazz theory, you know, the whole harmony theory and arranging and stuff like that, it is difficult, you know what I mean? Now, I'm going to try and get it across as clear and easy as possible. But if you can't get it, then bebop's not for you. Do some other kind of music, you know what I mean? You've got to really be able to study it and understand what's happening, I think, in bebop, you know. And the people who are really good at bebop, the people who've really studied, you look at all the best bebop players in the world today, and they've really got their head down and studied it, and they really practiced hard. It's not easy. It don't come easy, this kind of stuff, you know. And you're not going to get any rewards either, I'm telling you that. No, you get all this information, you might have to go and teach somebody something. But I don't teach anybody. All I'm teaching is you. I ain't got any pupils or anything. But what I'm saying is that you've got to love this music and love what I'm actually going to show you to get it. If you don't, if you're thinking, oh, this is too hard, I can't do it, you know what I mean, stuff like that, then it ain't for you, right? It's not for you. I love this kind of music. I love bebop, and I like teaching this. I like putting this across and teaching it. I don't like insults back when I'm making all these videos. And you can tell that with all these books I get, all these PhDs. Some people go out and, you know what I mean, they'll collect, I don't know, what do they collect, stamps, and they collect whatever. And, you know, I collect PhD studies on bebop because that's what I love, you know. So I'm really into the theory and everything about bebop, music in general. But to me, it's a hobby. I actually want to keep it a hobby. I just want to talk about this, try and give you an idea of what's happening. But I like to keep it hobby because then it's fun. Once you start doing things professionally, it don't become fun anymore, you know what I mean? I don't know how many bands I've played in and people start arguing with each other. I don't know what it is. Instead of music just being a bit of fun, it ends up being a big argument. But when I said that about being fun is, you've got to kind of take it seriously and you've got to really study the harmony and the music itself, you know, you've got to be listening to it and the harmony. Now, all I can do is just guide you. It's up to you to put the work in, not me, right? I've already been putting work in, you know, and I'm still learning a lot all the time. So this course, right, is jazz harmony, right? You want to go through it, listen to everything I say, and we'll go through it steadily, and we'll go right up to Berkeley, level 4, and then I'll also be putting other things in. That's basically what I say. So, on to the first lesson, okay? Before we start harmony, I want to roughly go through the prerequisites you need. Basically, you need to know that 5 lines of staff, that's a treble clef, and that's a bass clef. I think that's all I'm going to be using this. There's another clef which is called the C clef that looks like that, and it goes across the C line. Obviously, that surrounds the line. That's a G, that surrounds F, right? The C clef can be written like that as well. It could be written up. It's just identifying that line as C. Okay, they're the ones that you'd see more than anything else, right? So another thing you should know is you should know all your keys and how to write them. So obviously that's G major, G major, D, A, E, etc., etc., and the flat keys you should also know. So all your major keys, all right, and your minor keys, and all your and your flats as well. So B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. Okay. So I'm not going to do any more. They should know all them, right? You should know that a note can be changed by a pitch by a sharp, right, and take it back with a natural, and it can be made into a flat. So like that. You don't usually see C flat with key signatures like that, but just to know you know what they are. You should also know that is 4/4 time, that is 3/4 time, 2/4 time, 6/8, 9/8, and lots of different key signatures. I'm not going to teach you about key signatures. You should know all your scales, basically chromatic scale, and all your modes on your major scale, which is obviously if you've got a major scale. So I'll just write that out: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. You should know that that's called an Ionian mode or major scale. That's a Dorian. If you play from D to D is a Dorian. So what's different between a Dorian and a major scale is a flattened third and a flattened seventh. And then you've got a Phrygian scale or mode and a Lydian, which is F to F on a C major scale. Mixolydian, some people call that a dominant scale. An Aeolian or natural minor scale, and then a Locrian, which is associated with diminished chords. Okay, so you need to know all those. I'm not going to show them you because there's plenty of people on YouTube showing you, but I'm going to be talking about them. So I'm assuming you know those. I'm also assuming that you know all your minor scales. So minor scales, what you need to know are the melodic minor scale, natural minor scale, and harmonic minor scale. I do talk about these in how to play a bebop at the first few lessons I've gone through basic tetrachords. So if you're not happy about knowing your scales and all that, and tetrachords and modes, then have a look on how to play bebop. The first, I think it's first 6 or something. I do talk about tetrachords and all the different scales. I'm not going to talk about them in this. This is all about harmony. When I do talk about it, I'm going to be assuming that you do know it. Also, you should know about pentatonic scales as well, which I do also talk about on how to play bebop, very first lessons, and also how to put key signatures in order. Okay, so another thing you should know is intervals. So if you take an interval like perfect fourth, right? A perfect fourth, which is that, if you make it larger by half a step, it becomes augmented, right? So if that goes to F sharp, it's augmented. If it goes wider again, so that's flat, so it's half a tone wider again, it becomes double augmented, okay? If it actually gets smaller, let me just write that again. If it gets smaller, so if that interval becomes C sharp, it's called diminished, right? So that interval is a diminished interval, or diminished fourth. And if it gets smaller still, so that F becomes flat, it will become double diminished. Okay, you're not going to see that many of them, but I thought I'd just tell you. It's different with major, though. That's all with perfect intervals. With major intervals, though, it's different. If you've got something like, I don't know, a major third like that, that's called a major third. A major third made smaller by half a tone becomes minor. So if that's flat, that becomes minor. If it's becomes smaller again, so if that's becomes sharp or that becomes double flat, it turns into diminished, okay? And then smaller again and double diminished, same. If it gets larger though, so if you got C to E and that's larger by half step, right, then it becomes augmented third, okay? And double augmented if it gets bigger, okay? Bigger still. Okay, so I think that's about it. Let me think. Right, another thing that you should know about intervals is that they can be inverted. There's a few rules for inversions. If you look at that, that's a major third. Now, inverting that, there's little rules that you can see what it is straight away, and the rule is this: it's 9 minus the interval you're looking at, which is a major third. Right, which leaves a 6, and because this interval is a major third, that will be a minor 6. If you invert a major interval, it becomes minor, so that becomes E to C, which is a minor 6. Right, now if that's a perfect interval, right, a perfect interval is different. So if you've got something like that, which is a perfect interval, right, it's a perfect fifth. So we take 9, right, and we minus the 5. We end up with a fourth, which would be G to C, right. Now that is also a perfect interval. So when you invert a perfect interval, it becomes perfect. So a major becomes minor, and if you do a minor, it becomes major, and a perfect becomes a perfect. Okay, I'm certain you know all this. I'm just roughing it, but you should know it. So if you don't know it, you better start looking it up. Okay, because you're going to need all that information. I think that's about it for just basic knowledge. When you've got the basic knowledge, I'm saying if you're not happy about your basic knowledge, just have a look on YouTube, because loads of people, absolutely hundreds of videos on basic music theory. So that's what you need before we start off, right? So I hope you're happy with that bit, a little information, and we'll get straight into trads now.